Great Grand Rising, everyone. Great Grand Rising. Great Grand Rising. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for sticking with the channel as well. Just want to put out this little thing, which is crazy. Hope you've been enjoying the little short takes I've been putting out there. It's extremely important for us to understand what's going on. So I did a show on Dark Matter Radio the other day about the immigration crisis once again, and we reported on this a couple of years ago. And let me tell you, this system's a sham. The migrants are much better than you. Great Grand Rising, Great Grand Rising. Enjoy your day, enjoy your day. The system is a sham. Migrants are much better than you. And why do I say that? Because as I was saying in every political commentary that I make, that the reason why they're bringing these people across the border is because they are going to take the resources from them, from you, and give it to them. And that's exactly what's happening. So right now, the teachers all around the country is fighting not to go back into the classrooms because it's not safe. Because they don't want to teach the kids because they don't want to get sick, they don't want to get COVID. Well, right now, what the government has done, what your government has done, is put up $1.3 billion. $1.3 billion for educating migrant minors that have come across the border without any papers. They have no legality of being here, but they have appropriated $1.3 billion so that the teachers can teach them in class, live, and in person. We have educational systems like in Roosevelt, New York, maybe even Memphis, Tennessee, Chicago, where they don't even have the proper books in their education system. They're going to take $1.3 billion so that they can teach people who have really no right to being in this country. So that they can do that for them. Think about what they're thinking about you. You are the lowest. When I say black community, and even a lot of white communities now, the lowest of the lowest of the low, because they are diverting money away from you and supporting what they consider to be their future. You invest only in what you think your future is. That's what they invest in. So your Kamala Harris, your Biden, and your political leaders are all investing in their future. Remember what they told your black leaders, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, and all the alike with all those ministers and stuff like that. They told them that we cannot really talk to you. You need to go to talk to the Hispanic population because they are the ones who are going to be outnumbering you and deciding your future. That's what they told the black leadership, the black shim-shams. So I, for one, have always been sick and tired of the black shim-shams. Sure have. Sure have. It's just ridiculous. So now what they're doing, they're opening up school systems, not for the Americans, but they're opening up the school systems for those people who are coming across the border who haven't been tested for COVID, who haven't been, most of them haven't been tested, and many of them that have been tested have, I think they said 30% of them tested positive, of the ones they did test. They released over 4,000 kids into the United States without any documentation whatsoever. Or if they did give them documentation, I haven't found out what documentation they gave them, because none of those kids, as they reported, have any kind of a court hearing to go to. So who's overseeing these children? Who's taking care of these children? Where are they going? But we now know that they are committed to taking care of what they call at least another 7 months of children migrating en masse across the border to the tune of over 400 to 500,000 kids. And we're not even talking about the adults. Now, it might seem like I'm anti-immigration. I'm not an immigrant. I'm not from Africa. I didn't immigrate from Africa. I wasn't stolen from Africa. My people are right here from this land. I'm not an immigrant. I and my family belong on this land. many so-called black African-American people, Negroes, or original indigenous American Indians that belong on this land. They don't have any other homeland other than this land. Just about everybody else that comes over here is a migrant from somewhere else, including the Native Americans. Now, this might sound harsh, but it's absolutely true. And that's why, you know, when we did put in the Declaration of Independence, there is now going out a decree of explaining to the world who and what we are. When I say who and what we are, the original indigenous American Indian being. Some people call them Aborigines, whatever. But we need to begin to start making sure that we take care of ourselves. Over there in Myanmar right now, they're fighting tooth and nail because they don't like what their government is doing. And over here, we're fighting for rights that an owl has in a tree. They have reduced this population to some of the lowest standards on the planet. And now they're bringing in a whole lot of other people when they can't even take care of the homeless that they have in their own neighborhoods. But they're bringing in over a whole lot of other people from Qatar, over there in Saudi Arabia. They're coming from the Middle East. They're coming from all over the place. Half these people don't even know where they're coming from. There could be all of these other people or plants coming here to do serious harm. But there are no real safeguards for us and our people. But this is the reason why we're working on those co-creation communities. This is the reason why we're working on reestablishing what we came out of. So not only we can be protected as a Marikus, but everybody who is under that can be protected as well. $1.3 billion right now for a so-called crisis that they can easily avoid by not letting these people in our country. For people who do not belong on this land, for them to open up a school system and give them all the resources they need when you in your community are fighting for $10,000, which is no money, $1 million, which is no money, fighting to stay in your homes, fighting to keep your job, fighting for a good school system, fighting to get into a college, fighting to do what's right for you and your family. And what they're doing, they're taking the money away from you and your community. Your community don't make any money anyway, because you don't have any real businesses in your community that belong to your community, that cycles the money through your community, so that your community can be enriched by the dollars that you're bringing in from the outside. They're taking the money that you make and taking it somewhere else, and they're getting ready to increase your taxes once again. And if you're a business owner, you can almost forget it, because they're going to really rake you through the coals to make sure that they pay for your own destruction. And that's what they've been doing. Why do you think so many white males are running around killing themselves today? The majority of suicides, and the suicides of white male, I think, are up like 75%. There are a lot of white males running around killing themselves.
On April 1st of 1957, the BBC aired a fake news.
This system is a sham. It's a sham. So I encourage everybody to constantly keep on thinking about your families, constantly keep on thinking about your futures. And when you think about your future, think about what your country is looking, or what this system is doing to protect their future, because they're not investing in you. Everybody talks about investment. What are you going to invest in? I'm going to invest in myself. Everybody talks about all this stuff about investment. I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to invest in my future. Well, the country is investing in its future, and they're investing in a future that is not you. Over 2 years ago, I came out with a report, and I told them, I said, by 2030, 2050, in the so-called African American community, black community, which really doesn't exist. That's a made-up fictitious name for people that they want to try to create. That the income values in those communities, in that community, will be zero by that time period. Zero. That not only affects you, but affects anyone else that's in that community as well. So this system is a sham. Migrants are more important than you, always have been. And they're bringing them in right now to make sure that they're the new future of the United States. This is the reason why we all need to come back home. We all need to come back home. And, a lot of other races are going to also see that they need to come back under the protection of the Americans. Under us. That's right. It's the United States system. The United States system is a sham. It's a sham. Please pay attention to all the different videos, these little short takes that I'm putting out. Please pay attention to that. It's extremely important. Because those short takes, before I might even get canceled off of YouTube. But, if I do, we'll have other means of getting our stuff out. We still got we have like 4 or 5 other different channels. And Dark Matter Radio will always be going on. Plus, we're getting ready. We're establishing the embassy now. We have establishing the embassy. We do have an educational system that's growing. And we're also making room and plans to save people's lands. And to also create the co-creation communities where people can actually move into. All of this stuff is in process. It's going on right now. So you're doing your co-creation now. I'm going to start having more political information on Indian country. What's going on in our politics. How we should be thinking as beings of people. And that goes along with white people too, because this system ain't working for you either. Not working for you. When you got as many of your males killing themselves, being depressed, more than 75 to 80% of your whole entire population is on some sort of psychedelics in order for them to be able, or depressants to keep them solidified with inside of themselves, there's a problem. A serious problem. Yes, Indian is law. And Indian law, and again, when we talk about that, we talk about going back into the great law of peace, into the system that we came out. Right? And I'm going to show you over the next few videos that the name Iroquois is a French name. I'll give you the original name. Cherokee is like a British name. Those are names that come from the colonial times when they were changing everyone's identity and what we really call ourselves. And when they came over here, what they actually really found, they didn't find all this crap that's going on right now. And you didn't live the way that you lived, and you didn't live in teepees. And you didn't live in wood or grass huts either. You were majestic people that they broke down to nothing more than mud and under their shoes. That is a good possibility. Indian law is under Confederacy. Now, you have to understand what that really means, because every single Indian group before their names were changed were under a large confederacy. And they were under a constitution called the Great Law of Peace. It's huge. And this was going on for thousands of years before they even came. But I want to get into that big giant history. The world, I want to tell you, $1.3 billion to neighbors' kids that are ready to take your children's place in the workplace. And whether you're white, black, I don't care what you are. You got the Chinese on our backs now. Talking about Chinese racism, Chinese lives matter. Right? Some people forgot what these Chinese were doing to people up there in New York, down there in Florida, in Atlanta, over there in California, Chicago, Detroit. They were killing our people, slapping them up, treating them horrible going in there when you're trying to go into some of these Chinese or Korean restaurants and stuff like that, shops. People forgot about that. Little kids were getting killed. It always goes back to victimizing the victim. Victimizing the victim. And this is a serious situation because there's a psychosis upon which each and every single person in this country has. And then when you step up and try to protect yourself, they call you a narcissist and make it look like you're crazy. But I say stand firm on who and what you are. Be what you're supposed to be. And don't ever succumb. Don't ever succumb to this sedition of this sham society that we live in. Your children, your being, your family, your life is worth much, much more than that. And I can prove it. Anyone with selenium melanin in their system, their body's worth about $30 million dead. I'm going to leave you with that. $1.6 billion. And teachers all over the country applying to teach these migrant children in live school settings, face to face, where they don't even want to meet your children because they say they're COVID confused. That's just what it is. Love you guys. Get grand rising. Talk to you guys soon.